Call to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any changes to the agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Agenda is approved. Review of the minutes from December 27, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
Just one correction though, we had a full board seated, didn't we?
Had a what?
A full board seated.
Oh, you did.
Okay. So just to,
That was a bad copy and paste.
I figured that's what it was, but I kept looking, I'm like, no, there's 5 there.
We'll delete the not.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes with the change?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Any open public comment?
All good.
All good?
All good.
Oh, you'll go? Okay, I didn't know if you said all good or I'll go. It's like, okay.
Okay, I've been watching for a while and have not commented, so I have several things I would like to address, but I'm going to keep it very short. Okay, so this is basically being good and evil. Who do you work for? Town of Proctor or other people? Because I saw a snake oil salesman come here last meeting selling the mosquito spray, and no matter what happened, if there's a lot of mosquitoes, some other problem, and if there's no mosquitoes, he takes all the credit for it. You know, it's just like this, it's a scam wonder. But it's not that. I mean, people are free to make their choices, but he was pushing, trying to make a hard sell on this, what you have on your agenda, the addition of Mosquito Control District membership. And it gives us, makes us pay more and not really get anything for the town. I remember Lizzie asking questions about it, and he said blatantly it doesn't have anything for the town, but there would be benefits for the select board members personally. And I saw that some eyes kind of perked up when he said that, and now I see that even though there's no benefit to the town, I see it, wow, we might become members to the district. No, good, I'm just wondering who we work for here. And then secondly, I'm really, this is hot. This, these engineering firms, no offense, Michael, but you're going after a project admittedly with zeal that's not getting anywhere, and all kinds of money's being spent. Nothing's being done, there's nothing on the ground, and we're in a hole, and we're starting another project, and you're not stopping. So obviously the win here is getting town money and taxpayer money and funneling it into your engineering firms. That's the win situation for you guys. It's obvious at this point. I would like to see something done. You can't even get a trail done. I've got a culvert down near my house that's been broken. I know it's broken in Irene. Every time we get a monsoon season where we get a little weather wheel coming from lake effect, it floods and the thing breaks and there's major damage down there and nothing's ever done about it. We have infrastructure in town, nothing's done. But we want to go on and we want to do these, shovel tons of money at these engineering firms to basically get water down to the stream. We have to pay an engineering firm to do some type of massive study instead of just making culverts, taking the water down there. I don't know. Why do we have to pay engineering firms all this money constantly when these projects aren't even going to go anywhere? And secondly, I don't like the mosquito thing. Thank you for letting me speak, and I'm sorry. I hope you had a fun proof underwear on. Thank you for letting me speak.
Anybody have any comment?
Just to clarify, I don't think the increase is to join the Mosquito District. I think that's just to revise the amount, isn't it?
That's to correct the budget.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, just gasoline and the chemicals, yeah.
Yep.
But you guys want to put it on the warning for town meeting?
Correct. Yeah, don't you
What's
think?
the benefit? What is the
For next
benefit to
year,
you guys
so that
personally?
next year if we want to become a member.
What was the perk for select board members?
No, there's no perks.
The purpose of the.
Same
the-
perk you get, no mosquitoes.
The reason that they
Yeah.
said it would be beneficial for the
There's-
town to become a member is so that we have a seat at the board. Now we don't. So whatever they decide, we don't have a say in it. We can't vote.
All you
So
do
as a
is
board-
buying
as a member-
product or buying a service, why do you want to be part of this company?
Well, what they're saying is if it comes up to topic and there's something big to discuss, then we have people at the table who can chime in and say, yeah, we're against it, we're for it, or whatever.
You're selling
So-
bug poison, you're buying bug poison, they want to sell bug poison. You're
No,
not gonna-
we've been in
No.
this for a while and he's just doing his job, telling us what the pros and cons are of being a member or not being a member, so.
It's snake oil salesman. Doesn't work.
Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, because I've been to most every meeting, missed a couple here and there, but it's getting so that if we don't join, we probably aren't gonna get sprayed. And I think that's
That sounds
bad
like
thing.
coercion. That sounds like coercion to me.
no,
Racket, yeah.
no, it's been proven,
And who has ever been denied bug spray now? Please tell me, who's been denied bug spray by not being in a club?
everybody is except
Who
Proctor.
they turned down, who wants bug spray?
Well, everyone is a member except us, I believe.
Is that true? Well, good for you.
I thought it was awesome we were all done.
Yeah.
No, there's,
So you want to lock in so that you have to pay?
Okay. I'm gonna move on.
no. Thank you.
Okay, next, the Equalization Study. Assessor's report on the 2022 Equalization Study and recommendations for a town-wide reappraisal.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Lisa.
So I assume you got the memo. I tried to summarize a lot of data in one page. It's still a whole page, and I apologize. A lot of it is repetition of last year. The way this works is you get the letter with your CLA, then you can drill down to the CLA figures, the sales ratios, basically for different categories of property. If you want to drill down further than that, you can look at the individual sales that are part of the study. And if you want more information, all of this is public record. I have it all printed in the office, can get you copies if you want it. I'll start with the synopsis though. So we are at a CLA for 2022 of 88.9%. This is down from 95.25% for 2021 and down from 99.87% in 2020. This CLA of 88.9 is the figure that will be used as one of the drivers to your education tax rate. So because it's less than 100, the way the math works with that calculation, it will drive your tax rate higher. And I don't know if, Michael, if you shared the letter from the tax commissioner about the preliminary base rates.
I did about the forecasting for the education rate.
That was a lot to follow as well, but it seemed that they were projecting a slight decrease in the base rate. So it's going to be kind of one of those for Proctor, you win some, you lose some, where it's going to go up because of the CLA, but the base rate may come down a little bit. So the drop that Proctor experienced is actually a little bit less than the average throughout Rutland County and throughout Vermont, which is around 10%. And the reason yours is lower is largely because of the way the state equalizes for the utilities. So, so that's a benefit to us in a higher CLA. If we didn't have utilities assessed at a higher rate than the inventory, which is how the state equalizes it, comparing your listing practices to the inventory value submitted by the utilities, it's kind of arbitrary, quite frankly. If we didn't have a CLA of 148.35 for the utilities category, we would have a CLA of about 82%, and we would be under order to reappraise. So towns that are under order, and there are a lot of them. I was estimating like 120 from my math that I did. Christie, right, with PBR came out with 165 towns.
Wow.
249, I think it is, in the state of Vermont, that are going to be under order as of this year. So, and Proctor will probably be one of them next year. I did some preliminary numbers of just the sales, the sales that we've had since April 1st. So this study stops 3/31/2022, and is the 3 years prior to that. So while we're hearing a lot about about sale prices coming down and volume of sale, and that's starting to happen in other parts of the country, I'm not tracking it here in Vermont in any of my towns. We've got an average since April of ratios in the 64% to 67% range. The reason there's a range is the state does a weighted average, and I'm looking at a straight average versus a weighted average. So a weighted average, the way that works, is they total up all the sale prices, total up all the listed values. So what that accomplishes, for good or bad or indifferent, is that $1 million sale would carry as much weight as 10 $100,000 sales. So this is just the market that we're experiencing now. It may level out, but our COD is also up. It's not bad compared to some other towns. You're at 14.97%, up from 12.59%. So that's a measure of equity. And if you look at the categories on that, the categories, the CLAs for the various categories, you know, residential under 6 acres, residential more than 6 acres, etc. It's pretty consistent. So that's one good sign that assessments are somewhat equitable. Proctor is faring better than some other towns as far as that measure goes. But
Can I ask you a question and ask you what you mean by equitable? I'm just trying to follow what you're saying.
so what the COD attempts to measure is the range of how many people are assessed. Say if your average was 50%, typically you'd see some people assessed at 25 and 75% or whatever the range was. So the COD is a statistical measure to measure that range and that disparity among the numbers. So again, Proctor's faring pretty well on that measure, but with the CLA alone, you're probably going to be under order for 2024. And while it's certainly going to be recommended that we go out to reappraisal, to bid for reappraisal, with that many towns going out, and this is happening all over the region. And frankly, when some of these big appraisal contractors can be doing a good stroke of business, say in Massachusetts or Connecticut with 10,000 and 40,000 parcel towns, they're not going to come to Vermont for a 700 parcel town. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be a while before, even if you went out to bid today, you'd probably be looking at 2027, 2028. So it might be something you consider to go out to bid, to be looking forward, because it's going to take a while, maybe get somebody locked in. On the other hand, my concern is with that many towns going out in Vermont and so few contractors, that there's going to be some hasty and maybe shoddy work being done. So I wouldn't rush it. Another not so good appraisal is not going to accomplish something. You want to do it right, and that requires a thoughtful process of making sure that the bid you get is what you really want. So stay tuned. I may hang out my shingle and maybe doing reappraisal projects myself. I've had a number of towns asking me. So
I have a question.
Anybody wants to work for me,
I have a question just for clarification for myself. So does a lower CLE mean our properties are appraised at a lower level than they should be? And if they're assessed in a more accurate level, then taxes would be better appropriated?
Okay, short answer is, let me do that one at a time. I'm trying to say it in the least confusing way. So yes, it does mean that 82% means that on average, a house that is selling for 100,000, we have it listed for 82,000. So that's the average. So the COD again tries to measure that disparity. You know, you also look at the sales that are, you know, and kind of try to study the categories of the sales that have happened and where we're off, you know, when we look towards a reappraisal, those are numbers that I'll look at. And in a lot of cases, it's depreciation. Back in 2017, when we did your reappraisal, even back in 2019, when West Rutland did our appraisal, depreciation was a different factor. So, long story short is that it's probably not equitable. If you're less than assessed, then if your assessed values are less than sale prices, you're probably not equitable across the board because, as anybody knows, not everybody's property value has increased equally in this market. So,
Well, and I'm sure that they're really skewed over the last couple of years because people's
Yes.
property values were assessed at much less than what they purchased the new property for.
right. If you're fairly equitable, the tax burden, and I went through this conversation in Pittsburgh with people getting a little bit riled about personal property and what is the select board going to do with this extra money? Like, no. Let's look at the 411 and let's go back to basics of how this works. And explain that the taxes are a shared burden, and so that's the equity that we're looking for, is that everybody's paying their fair share based on property value. So it's pretty simple as far as your municipal taxes. If everybody is assessed relatively fairly compared to each other, you take that, my dad would still love to explain taxes, as simply as that, is you have this total list of expenses for your town, you have this total list of property value in town, divide one number into the other, and that's your rate per 100 or per 1,000, however you express that. So the municipal rate is pretty simple that way. The state education formula starts out that way. That's how the base rate is roughly calculated. It is a statewide grand list and a statewide cost for education. But then they throw in these other calculations trying to equalize it. Hence the reason it drives your tax rate up if you're less than 100% is it's an attempt to compensate for the towns having a different tax rate if they're assessed at, say, only 50% of fair market value versus the ones that are 100.
But the school tax rate is not going up in Proctor, it's actually going down, just for clarification.
You don't have that figure yet, though, do you, Lisa, or your projections
You
are?
have to use the number to project, because you have to put a
Yeah.
number in to figure
Yeah.
it, so.
Well, that's great news. So you've used the CLA and factored
Yes.
that in? All right.
Anybody else have questions or comments?
Because the market seems pretty volatile right now as far as everything's shooting way up, and we're likely on the verge of a housing market crash. What do you see as far as, are you trying to assess before there's a crash? Or do you see that in your picture at all, what's going on, the trends? Or how do you see that? Are you just
Yeah.
trying to comply to state, or if you want to answer that, that's fine.
Well, that's kind of something we wrestle with. I mean, I wouldn't want to be one of those towns that reappraised in 2022, because we still maybe haven't seen the dust settle on some of that. My crystal ball is not working too well with whether we're going to have a real bubble that's going to burst and a real crash, or whether it's going to be more moderate. I'm hopeful that Vermont, with other cycles like this, we haven't had the real spikes that other parts of the country tend to see, so we tend not to have the major downturns that other parts of the country have, but never say never. What is different this time around, as opposed to the last, market bubble back in 2008, is I haven't seen in 20 years that I've been doing this, the low inventory, supply and demand, it turns out it works really well. And we've had historically low inventory and historically strong demand. And I mean, that's just something I don't think we've ever seen, not in 20 years anyway, bidding wars on, you know,
It's crazy.
little middle-class ranches in West Rutland, you know, I mean, you just, you know, I'm frankly in sticker shock about it myself, but I don't know that we're gonna see it come down. You know, I think the growth rate is maybe slowing, but, I don't
You're right,
think
that
it's
started to
gonna
come down in other states, but doesn't seem to here.
It really, I'm not seeing it yet. The volume is slowing down though. We don't have the fee appraisal orders that we had 3 months ago. That has slowed way down.
Yeah, I've heard that most people have just given up kind of looking because it's so difficult. It's it's just one of the things.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else have anything? All right. Thank you very much, Lisa. All right. Anything else under the? All right, is there a motion to go out of the board meeting and into the Board of Water Commissioners?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, lead and copper rule revision, asset management plan update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you remember our last meeting, we talked a little bit about the lead and copper rule revision that was requiring a lead and copper inventory. I spoke to Aldrich and Elliott shortly after our last select board meeting, and we spoke about the town performing an asset management plan. Most times in local government, different departments have plans that plot the course for the future, and this is just an effort to strategize our water infrastructure and capital improvement plan regarding that. So this asset management plan is funded through the Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund, and it is 100% reimbursable. Aldrich and Elliott is not new to our town and our town's infrastructure, but hasn't done a lot of work on the water side. Has done a lot of wastewater work, but not water. So there's a few pros to performing this asset management plan. One, it provides Aldrich and Elliott the opportunity to become more familiar with our water system. And two, it allows Proctor to plan for this lead and copper inventory. If this is complete, really the next step is just going inside of residents' homes and taking pictures of the connections that feed in or outside the house to determine whether they're lead or copper. So in this asset management plan, you'll have maps, you'll have a capital improvement plan, you'll have life cycle cost analysis for your infrastructure, risk assessments, funding strategies, and rate studies for future years. So I'm not looking for the board to make a motion tonight on it. Aldrich and Elliott is still drawing up an engineering services agreement, and if the board wants to pursue this, then most likely we'll be looking for a motion at the next meeting.
Anybody have questions?
Thank you, Michael.
Yes, good.
Okay, nothing else under the Board of Water Commissioners? Is there a motion to go out of the Board of Water Commissioners and into the Board of Sewer Commissioners?
So moved.
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Nothing under the Board of Sewer Commissioners?
No, it's been quiet. We're just kind of moving forward on the scoping study for the wastewater treatment plant. It's probably the only update I could give.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to go out of the Board of Sewer Commissioners and back to the Select Board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We're back into the regular Select Board meeting. Town Manager and Sheriff's reports.
I can speak towards the town manager's report. A lot of time has been spent on the town's annual report. Let's see here, what else is kind of interesting? There weren't a whole lot of meetings and trainings due to the holidays. Every Wednesday, I allocate invoices for the board meetings. The fire on West Street, I've been in contact with a woman named Elizabeth Bates, who runs a nonprofit, and she's preparing a memorandum of understanding for the Maces to clean up the property. So what they'll do first is they'll bring in dumpsters and pick up everything that's in the yard, and then a demolition team will come in and take down the home so that the property is prepped for a future build, or just to get all the material off the property. We had a beaver pond cleanup volunteer day. Took a lot of the brush and moved one pile to another pile, but it made it easier for the public works crews to come pick up. Dale took a really cool picture of the pond from up top. I've got it on the website. It's like crop circles, ice circles.
Oh, really? That's cool.
So a little advertisement for people to go up there and hike and take a look. I don't know if is it still frozen out there?
It is.
Select board member Raymond?
There were people ice fishing on it
The pond's still
Saturday.
oh, really? Wow.
Want to go out on it?
I wouldn't have gone out there, but they
We-
were there.
We did the final loan reimbursement for the Willow Street Sewer Project. Public nuisance ordinance, we're not reviewing this at this meeting. I spoke with Jim Carroll, who's one of the town's attorneys. I've drafted a new draft ordinance, which includes the language that was provided to me by Ms. Frazier at our last meeting. I also took the language from the zoning bylaws and exported it into the new ordinance. So it's under review now by the attorneys. Hopefully we'll be able to revisit that at the next meeting. The rink playground isn't actually coming in until February. We received a slide for the pool. Bigger than we thought it was gonna be, but we're working through it. We have an EAP orientation next week, so someone will come and talk to our employees about, what kind of resources they have to reach out in regards to their mental health and legal and financial struggles, problems at home, workplace issues, etc. We did a little bit of credit supervisor work, reached out to some delinquent account holders that figured it was a holiday, so people may miss payments. We had a few people come in and keep up on their agreements from those phone calls. We had a report of parking ordinance violations. The sheriff and I spoke, and they said that they would go around, just as a reminder here, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., cars shouldn't be parked along the side of the street. And the sheriff said he'd go around and take care of that for us. And I think, I skipped over a few things, but I think that covers the most of it.
No, this is helpful.
Okay, good.
All right. Discussion and action items. Everybody signed the bills?
Yes.
And then the newly elected fire, did you want to do the sheriff's report?
I don't have anything to add.
Okay,
to the
anybody have
sheriff's
questions
report.
on the sheriff's?
I reached out about the drug bust. I don't know how big it was or where it was, but it took up the majority of time.
Yeah. Well, that's what
Yeah.
I was questioning, like how they had that and then there's like one fine and
Yeah.
no cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to him about that.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So the newly elected fire department officers? Everyone got that, who the new officers are?
Yes.
Do you want a motion to approve them?
So this is, I've got a
we've
lot
ever
of
approved them.
I don't think we have either.
Yeah, I just think we recognize who they are and
Sure.
congratulate them.
Yeah, and thank them for
Yes.
their service.
'Cause that's kind of amongst them that they do, I mean,
That's what I figured. So I think I was trying to leave it up to whether we could do a motion or just a congratulations.
I think just a congratulations and just
Yeah.
recognizing that they shared it with us, that's good then.
The new offices.
yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Delinquencies, dedication, and front cover picture for the 2021-2022 town report.
I
So,
think, I like that picture.
That's a great picture.
Yeah, I caught Cliff walking down the road and asked if he had any good pictures, and he said drop off a CD, and he did. And, yeah, that one, I think that one, he had a few on there, but that one really kinda, it's great because you've got the new North Street Bridge, the Amtrak coming through.
I like it, the
Yeah.
green around it.
You hollered at for taking that,
I don't know what,
Yeah,
being that close.
yeah.
well, they're going the other way.
I don't know what bringing up the
Oh,
rear
that was a going
is.
away picture, yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
it
'cause
says
they
down
go-
here, Amtrak 700, bringing up the rear.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they've got engines.
Well, because that's the back of the train.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got engines
Got
on
it.
that, so they don't turn around, they just kind of go the other way.
Coming and going.
In the middle of the city. In the intersections. No, I like it.
Great.
yeah, looks good.
All right. You're looking for a motion to include delinquencies in the 2021-2022 town report?
If that's what the board wishes.
I think we should put it back in.
I agree.
Okay.
So, and Celia did remind me, in the past, I'm not sure if agreements had been added in there, just account holders who are delinquent without agreements.
I think it was just delinquencies, wasn't it? I don't think that had.
No, I don't believe we got that.
No.
Yeah,
I don't think we should, but, break it down that much.
So you think they should all be included? Or people with agreements should not be included in the delinquency list?
If they have agreements and they're paying, I don't see any need to put them in. But we do have,
They're still delinquent.
Yeah,
yes, they are, yeah.
I think they're still.
But they're making an attempt anyway to.
Right,
They're trying.
till after the annual report's printed, then. So what's everyone's thoughts?
Can you put in a line that says something like ongoing agreement and list whoever separately? So that,
Or just put an asterisk by those people's names, and then on the bottom, put the asterisk as a footnote saying these individuals have an agreement.
Yes.
yeah, something that distinguishes them anyway.
Right, because we've been working to reduce the size, not,
It has been holding steady during I haven't given you a delinquency report in a while, but I looked at it the other day. It's been holding steady since the last report I gave, which was months ago, so that's encouraging.
definitely.
All right, so is there a motion to include delinquencies in the 2021-2022 town report and thereafter?
Yes.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, motion to dedicate the 2021-2022 town report to.
I like to think I've kind of got my finger to the pulse, but if anyone else has had suggestions, then please speak up before I do. But I've had one, and I've thought of one, and I think they're both good.
Would you like to
So
share?
I'll give them mine. The first one was Brian and Megan Canucci, which I do agree. When I think of a couple that does a lot of work for the town, I think they're pretty high up there. The other I was thinking, since we don't have a super clear direction on this, and I'm not sure if it's ever been done in the past, but I thought it would be kind of a neat idea to maybe dedicate the town report to a group. And I think the history of our yard definitely probably rises them to the achievement of being awarded dedication of a town report. So I was thinking maybe our yard, current and past members, but that was just an idea.
Could we be on the cover?
Yeah, we can do it
Tracks on the
however.
cover.
We can, well, you got the our yard signs on the light poles up here, so you could do that, or you could find photos of older
was joking.
members. Oh, okay. But no,
I was
we need
being
a, but we need one. We need a photo. So,
So thoughts, anybody? Opinions?
I would go for our yard. Well, it's been years, been doing good work around town.
Yeah, certainly not to discount what Brian and Megan
No,
did, but.
definitely not, no.
I think our year's been around for a long time.
Longer, yes.
yeah, I think historically the town report has been dedicated to people kind of near the end of their careers.
What do you say?
There you go, Judy.
I resign.
A little show.
Is it possible to recognize a photo, or is that just? Put it up there, sir.
I definitely, just my opinion, I think the Canucci's time will come. You know, I think they're deserving of it now, but,
Wait till they're 8.
yeah. When was our yard founded, do we know?
2000 and... God.
Before that, I think,
Mm-hmm.
was Cheryl, Celia. It probably in the late 90s.
Linda started it,
Yeah,
and it had to be,
I just saw that article in one of the scrapbooks too, and it
Oh.
was a picture of Linda talking about it. Well, she was still at OMI at the time,
wow,
right?
around longer than I realized.
Yeah,
We're close to retirement. I can check, double check, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely been.
okay. And maybe we can scrounge up a nice picture or anything that can go on that page.
Anybody else have thoughts or?
Well, I like the idea of dedicating it to both. And you do have a dedication page, right? Can there be one at the beginning and one at the end? You know? It's nice to recognize both and their positive influences for the town.
Then you won't have anybody next to you. But then you won't have anybody next to you.
Good point.
No,
I don't know.
I'm sure
I-
we'll come up with somebody.
I would rather stick with one, I think. That's just me.
Anybody else?
I think one is historically,
Time to shake things up.
This is not a retirement or that, yeah.
Okay, so is there a motion to dedicate the 2021-2022 town report to our yard?
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, our yard.
Now we gotta beef it up this year.
Yeah.
We deserve that honor. Okay. All right, second review of the draft town hall warning and the addition of mosquito control district membership and the reallocation of existing grant economic development funds into a reserve account.
So this is an example of Michael getting stuff out early to check mistakes. And I've never been to an in-person town meeting, so it was brought to my attention that the first draft warning was totally incorrect. So I had to change the format around a little bit. And so I've done that. The attorney has not reviewed it yet, just because I wanted the select board to kind of see what we had proposed as articles. And as Ms. Frazier just announced, in addition to what was reviewed at the last meeting, you've got the membership into the Mosquito Control District and reallocation of planning commission funds into a reserve account for grant matching.
Any questions?
Looks good to me. Of course, I didn't think the last one was bad, but
Is there a motion to have the town attorney review the draft warning for final approval at the next regularly scheduled meeting?
that's a good idea, yes.
Is there a second?
We can blame him.
All in favor? All
Aye.
right, motion carries. All right. For a letter of support for Zion Growers Community Recovery and Revitalization Grant application.
Yeah, and this is another grant that Zion is applying for to renovate the building and support their business venture. This grant is about $1 million is what they're applying for, and it is actually it's incentivized towards the BIPOC community. So what you have in your packets is a letter of support that was drafted between myself and Travis Samuels.
Any comments or questions? Is there a motion to support Zion Growers Community Recovery and Revitalization Grant application?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. The review and sign 2023 mileage certificate, which determines the town share of state aid for highway. That's just something we need to sign, correct? No motion. Pass it around to read and read. Anybody have questions regarding that?
22 miles, it's the same as last year.
Pretty
Well,
straightforward.
we had the intersection changed, didn't we? But it didn't change the mileage. Remember that a few meetings ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Mortimer Proctor applications.
So I don't have the applications in your packets. We were kind of throwing them together last minute, but they do include shade trees for the village green, funds to support the concerts in the park again this year, which are excellent, and fireworks for Fall Festival.
I think those are great.
Okay, that's,
Is there a motion to approve our yard's Mortimer Proctor application for concerts in the park, shade trees for the village green, and fireworks?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariel.
Revision of the fiscal '24 budget proposal to raise Otter Creek Watershed Mosquito Control District annual funding from $16,000 to $17,500 for voter approval at town meeting. And this, I believe, was just a discrepancy in the percentage rates of where we figured it initially to the number they gave us.
I was under the impression it was a 5% increase in our existing expenditures, but it's 5% of the OCW's budget, not ours. So when he said 17,005, it kind of rung a bell that ours might have been off.
So is there a motion to revise the fiscal '24 budget proposal to raise the Otter Creek Watershed Mosquito Control District funding to $17,500?
Yes.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Any new business? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.